And I guess I had no choice but to think about my life because A, I had more time, and B, because my life was a complete mess. Every area of my life was just not good. Hi guys, today I want to share something a little personal. We usually talk about your devotion to Mary, and don't worry, that series is still here. But today I want to step back and share my story as a Cradle Catholic. What it felt like growing up in the faith, how I drifted away after some really painful experiences, and how God found me again. Are you also a Cradle Catholic? I'd love to hear your story in the comments. So, what is a Cradle Catholic? It's simply someone who was born into the Catholic faith and raised in it. And that was me. I'm based in PA, but I was born in the Philippines where most people are Catholic. Growing up, I learned the basic prayers. Angel of God, Hail Mary, Our Father. My family went to Mass every Sunday. We even prayed the rosary together. Sometimes. So yes, I knew the stories. I even had a children's Bible, and I could tell you all about Adam and Eve, Noah, and Jesus dying and rising again. But here's the thing, I never really internalized the faith. When you grow up with something always around you, like water or food, you don't really think about what life would be without it. And because I never truly experienced what it's actually like to have zero Catholic influence, I didn't know how to appreciate it. Life got harder as I grew up. I experienced pain and abuse in different forms, and I started to wonder, if God really loves me, why would He let me go through all these? That question slowly turned into anger. I didn't stop believing in Him, but I stopped praying. And when you stop praying, you drift. It's subtle at first, but then suddenly you realize you're far away from God. Besides, I was busy with school and relationships. My goal was to survive. The turning point came right after college. Suddenly, I had to actually think about my life, and I guess I had no choice but to think about my life because A, I had more time, and B, because my life was a complete mess. Every area of my life was just not good. I remember praying one night out of desperation, and it was probably the most honest prayer I had ever said up to that point. Lord, I don't know if you're still there. I don't even know if you still love me. But if you do, please help me. I have literally no one else. I don't know what to do anymore. To my surprise, God actually answered. Little things started to change. Some problems I couldn't fix just resolved on their own. And more importantly, I felt this nudge to finally read the Bible. Not the children's version, but the Bible. And I remember thinking, I've read so many novels in my life. Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, Narnia, you name it. But why have I never read the most important book? So I opened it and I was shocked. I didn't expect the Bible to be so human. It's like watching a drama series. It was a story of God constantly trying to love His people, even as they made a mess of everything. You know, it felt familiar because that was my life. A mess. And here was God so ready to be my Father, to bless my life and give me peace. But only then did I realize that for Him to be my Father and for me to be His daughter, that meant that I should put effort into becoming like Him. Honest, loving, patient, and kind. Because how can I claim to be His daughter and for Him to be my Father if there's no likeness between us? If I don't know how to obey Him like any good child would obey a good father? Then I started to see just how much pain I've caused others. Hurt people. I lied. I had been selfish. I had disrespected my body and my soul. I hurt people who loved me. And so began the process of repentance. I reached out to people, even those I haven't talked to in years. I told them I'm sorry for doing wrong. I let go of toxic relationships. I learned to stand up for myself and set healthy boundaries. I also had bad habits I acquired during college. Coping mechanisms. For example, I became addicted to pornography pornography. I was engaged in a physical relationship with a much older boyfriend at that time who also taught me how to cheat. It wasn't easy. It felt like tearing down walls full of hidden mold. You don't even know how deep the damage goes until you start looking. But God was patient, and He gave me help along the way. One of the biggest blessings was discovering the Blessed Virgin Mary. Praying the rosary became a lifeline. It gave me signal graces, little nudges that kept me from going back into dangerous situations. The rosary softened my heart to forgive years of pain. Through the rosary, I slowly began to understand what love really is. Not the worldly version that's just lost in disguise, basically, but the kind of love that heals and protects. And through that healing, I became the version of myself that was ready to receive the man God intended for me. I met my husband around 2022. He showed me what it's like for a man to truly respect and love me with purity and chastity. 2 years later, we got married in his hometown in PA, and here I am. We're about to celebrate our first anniversary next month. Now I make these videos, write blog posts, and create prayer cards because I want to share the same hope that I found. What about you? Are you a cradled Catholic? Have you ever drifted from the faith? Where are you now in your journey with God? I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.